Can you start by telling us your name?
My name's Lowell Leitzel,
And what year did you graduate?
1976.
Great. So what do you want to tell us about your time at Susquehanna?
Well, I was here at a difficult time in our history because it was Vietnam era time. So the university was dealing with those kinds of issues as far as students were concerned. I think a unique thing about my experience here is that I was a local student. I graduated from Stevensville High School in 1972, and my father had come to school here, and he was a big influence on my deciding to choose Susquehanna as my place of studies. I came here knowing I wanted to be a teacher, but I wasn't quite sure what field. Was a choice between mathematics and French because they were both preferred subjects of mine in high school. I did very well on them. And the one deciding factor in that decision to opt to be a French major was the fact that my SAT achievement score test in French was just a tad bit higher than my math score. So that's one of the reasons why I opted to study French. I had had a job working here on campus before I came to Susquehanna. Was able to get a job in the dining hall from my freshman year in high school, and worked on through working on banquet staffs and working in the kitchen, washing pots and pans, and doing all the dish room kinds of activities during my high school years. And I was able to continue doing that while I was at college, so that was a big help in helping to pay my way through school here. And I wound up being one of the assistant student managers in the dining hall, overseeing student employees, working under schedules, payroll, all that kind of thing, which is a very good experience for me. And being a local student, living at home, I wanted to make every effort to get as involved in campus activities as I possibly could. So my second term here, we were on the 3-term system at that time. I pledged Phi Sigma Kappa fraternity and was actively involved in that fraternity through the rest of my career here. And of course I had my job on campus as well. And I thoroughly enjoyed music. So I was able to join the chapel choir and sing with them. And that was, my freshman year was also Mr. Stratansky's first year here. The well-known choral director for whom Stratansky Hall is named. And he combined the concert choir with the festival choir, or the chapel choir, to make it a festival choir. And I had the blessing my freshman year to travel with that group to Mexico over the Easter break for a 1.5-week long tour. And the big thrill for me was being able to sing the Mozart Requiem Mass in Mexico during that particular concert tour. That was the highlight of my freshman year. Again, kept very active during my years here, and when I graduated, I was very surprised and honored to be named as one of the outstanding seniors of the class that year. And that's a treasure I hold very deeply in my heart to this day.
Can you talk more about the Vietnam War's influence on your years here?
Well, I'll admit I was rather sheltered from it myself. I mean, I watched a lot of the coverage on television. It was toward the end of our involvement in Vietnam, but I think there were students in particular before me who were on the edge of being drafted, could have been drafted in the service. So that issue was hanging over, I think, universities all over the country at that particular time. So perhaps the impact of Vietnam was dwindling during my years here. Probably been more of its height back in the late 60s and early 70s, just before I came. But I think its impact was still felt while we were students here.
Interesting. Is there anything else you want to share with us today?
I'm not really sure, except for the fact that when I retired from teaching, I had a 32-year teaching career in Garrett County, Maryland, as far west as you can go. And of course, my parents still lived here in the community. My mother passed away in 1999, my father in 2005. And being the oldest of 4 siblings, 4 children, we opted to put the family home in my name, which gave me a place to come back and retire. I had to wait 5 years to do that. But being able to come back here was a blessing timing-wise for me and location. And I think one of the very positive things about being back here in the area is knowing the community, knowing this particular place, which is very special, and knowing that there are lots of things to get involved in as a community member, knowing that the campus is here. And I've been a French tutor with the French department since I've been back in the area. I actually was invited to become an adjunct instructor last year because they needed someone to teach the beginning level classes, so I did that for a year. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy all the musical productions I can get to here. The theater productions are outstanding.
I agree.
And I think, you know, being in retiring in a small college town is something that I would recommend to anyone looking to retire, because there are always things to do, and the price is right too.
Do you have any thoughts on the importance of sharing history with current students from like your experience as an alum with current students? Like, what do you think the role of that is in current students' experiences at Susquehanna?
I think just making them aware of the history of the institution itself is important, where its roots began, how the tree of the life of the university has developed over the years. I got to know Dr. Lemons, you know, at the end of his tenure here when I returned, and he was very good at keeping all that history alive in any events that he would attend. I sensed from Dr. Green's inaugural address yesterday that he intends to do the same thing. He's already become very cognizant of the roots of the university and what its founding premises were. But I think for students who come here, and the more I hear them talk and share, they've come to understand what that history means and what it means to be an alumnus of Susquehanna when you finish your work here. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that alumni do come back and share their stories with you folks.
Great, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.